Hey everyone, this video is going to briefly cover the Caryophylaceae family. This is the chickweed family, and I just wanted to cover this at this point in the season, not because it has so many edible plants, but because it has one very common edible plant, and that is chickweed. Chickweed, its Latin name is Stellaria media, and the media refers to the single line of hairs that run down only one line of its stalk. So if you find what you think is chickweed and you look at its stalk, you'll see that it's smooth around the stalk except for one line of hairs that only will run down the median, the center of the stalk. It also has opposite leaves that are entire, so the leaves are smooth. And when you pull the stem apart on chickweed, you'll notice that if you pull it lightly enough, the outer ring of the stem will pull apart, but then there'll be an inner string that stays attached. And that's another good idea. You kind of have these, it's almost like a stalk within a stalk. So you have, if you think you have chickweed, it's commonly in a disturbed space. It has opposite leaves that are entire. The flower has 5 petals that will actually look like 10 because they are deeply, they're split in the middle. So if you look closely, they're still attached at the bottom, but it can look like 10 petals. But 5 petals, opposite leaves that are entire, and a stringy stalk that has hairs running up the center. And if you pull that stalk apart, you'll notice that there's a little string inside that keeps it attached. So if you have all 3 of those things, or however many that is, you most likely have chickweed. Look it up online, look up pictures. It's a fairly common plant and fairly easy to identify. It's introduced from Eurasia, so it is not a native species, but it is very common in our gardens. Other members of the Caryophyllaceae family are silenes and lichnus. These are commonly called campions, so bladder campion is a very common one. They also have 5 petals and opposite leaves, and their flowers are really sweet and edible. Carnations, the flower is edible, but again, with horticultural plants, you want to be careful and make sure that the soil that they're grown in does not contain any of those horticultural pesticides or any sort of biocides, because they're not fit for human consumption. Carnations, the leaves are opposite or whorled. So whorled leaves mean that the leaves come out like the spokes on a cartwheel around the whole stalk. And again, they have 5 petals that are split and often can look like 10. And then there's one plant commonly called mouse ear chickweed. It's Cerastium. It looks like Stellaria, the regular chickweed that we see, but it's much hairier. It's edible when young, but just like chickweed as well, it gets pretty stringy and tough pretty quickly with warmer weather. Chickweed as well, as the weather gets warmer, it'll start going to seed. It's an annual, so it becomes much less palatable as it starts to go to seed. So look for it now. It's early spring. There should be a lot popping out in your gardens, and if you have any questions about it, let us know in the forum.